It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
And so should you, because I feel fine. This is Marz, Theron, and you are listening to Conspiracy Comedy News here on beautiful, beautiful American Freedom Radio. And I'll be with you for the next hour. Chief Cook and Bottle Washer, letting you know what's going on in the world. Well, last week, I opened with news of Hurricane Harvey. It was pummeling the Texas coast at the time, deluging Houston, and moving up into Louisiana with winds at 130 miles per hour. Well, there's another one. I hope this doesn't turn into a weekly thing. They got this Irma coming up, about to attack beautiful, beautiful Florida. It's already at a Category 5, winds up to 185 miles an hour, or maybe even 200, last I heard. It's currently crossing the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico on its way past the Dominican Republic tomorrow morning. You know, it's going to pass through Haiti, Cuba, Bahamas, Friday and Saturday. That's what they say, is it'll probably drop in intensity to Category 4, but it's about to knock the crap out of Florida. They're evacuating Florida, possibly be a direct hit at the Florida Keys about Sunday morning. So if you're over there, get the hell out. There's like only 2 freeways out of that area. But to add insult to injury, or injury to insult, if you will, the Virgin Islands, they're being buffeted by heavy rain and winds right now, upwards of 200 miles an hour. The governor has put out an order to seize arms and ammunition. What? That's right. Does that remind you of something? That what they did in New Orleans? He put out an order. Said to seize arms, ammunition, explosives, etc. 2005, they did that in New Orleans after Katrina. You know, after they had leaving the residents at the mercy of roving gangs, home invaders, and other criminals. When people desperately needed help, after a hurricane destroyed the area, armed men in uniform are going around banging on their doors, demanding entry, breaking in to search for weapons to confiscate. This ain't right. It so ain't right. It's not just because of the Second Amendment, but Congress the next year passed a law called the Disaster Recovery Personal Protection Act, which prohibits it. It means to prohibit future confiscation of weapons during an emergency. And this little area, the Virgin Islands, actually calls itself the United States Virgin Islands. So it's part of the United States. At least that's what it says on their order. It says right there, United States Virgin Islands. I guess Governor Kenny Mapp didn't get the memo. Sheesh. I don't think anybody's doing anything right now. Like I said, they're being buffeted. The eye's probably very close right there. The wall of the eye. Beating the crap out of them. And meanwhile, I just saw that there are 2 more tropical storms that have been upgraded to hurricanes over here on our eastern seaboard of this country of ours. Jose. It's following the path of Irma, so it's tagging along like a puppy dog out there, about equal distance from, I guess in the center would be Hurricane Irma. Then over there on your left would be Florida, and then on your right about equal distance is where this crazy, stupid hurricane is. Jose, I think they call it, yeah. It'll probably strengthen the next day or so and then weaken as it heads north, because there's apparently a high pressure area over there for those of you who are into weather. So that one may not actually be a big issue. And then the other one's Katia. Katia is down the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, just declared to be a hurricane. It's over there between the Yucatan Peninsula and Mexico, and it looks like it's going to be heading into southern Mexico by Saturday. So those aren't really an issue to us, but my goodness. Are the warmistas correct that the global warming is causing hurricanes and severe weather? Well, more about that later. Enough about the weather. Let's talk about racism. Yahoo! Racism. I don't know about you, but I was hoping that after enough people blew off steam with this racism yelling out there and people yelling back and forth, that the whole thing would blow over. They just, knock down some statues and get over it. Right? Don't you think? People gotta calm down. They can't do this forever. Like the hurricanes. It's gotta end. But no such luck. Which brings us to a segment that we like to call the Crazy Bitch of the Week. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Crazy Bitch of the Week. This week is, well, in the past, we've honored such crazy bitches as Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Nikki Haley, and John McCain. Yeah, that crazy bitch. This week, we shine our crazy bitch spotlight at a woman running for mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina. On Facebook, this woman actually had her page there, her picture, and underneath she had written, "Vote for me, Kimberly Page Barnett, Mayor of Charlotte, 2017, Republican and smart, white, traditional." White? She actually wrote white there in the description of herself, Republican and smart, white, traditional. I guess she means traditional white, as opposed to, I don't know, mauve or a cream color. No, she's traditional white. She actually thought putting that in her announcement would make her a shoo-in. She's trying to get in on this whole racist thing. Yeah. Hey, white people, vote for me. She was at a debate recently, and when they asked her how Charlotte, North Carolina, could support low-income residents, she replied, "But I don't think we should encourage more lower-income people to Charlotte. We should attract higher-income people." Yeah, that ought to solve the income gap. Yeah, we should check to make sure they're white, right, huh, Kimberly? You nutcase. And she also said, "As mayor, what I would like to discourage is assembly. Protests are confrontational. They're chaotic. They scare people. I believe there's a better way to express yourselves." How, by being white, Kimberly? She's not supposed to have the First Amendment of the Constitution, the right to assembly anymore, huh, Kimmy Kim? Who do you think you are, Lil Kim? What's next? ICBMs? How about if it's a whites-only assembly? Then would that be okay, Kim? Oh, she also said transgender people should not be allowed in public bathrooms. Yeah, that's what she said. She was saying, you never know what they are. They scare children, quite frankly. Even the white ones, Kimberly? That's what I want to know. Is she talking about, transgenders of color that should have labeled? And she thinks poor people don't want to work. Oh, no, but that doesn't keep them from buying expensive cars, is what she says. Oh, they don't want to work, but they do have expensive cars. I can't help but wonder, though, are these white cars they're talking about they're buying? Kimberly? This woman spent 18 years as a magistrate judge. Sheesh, I can really, she's obviously racist because she said the white thing, so I couldn't imagine going in front of her as a person of color. Or even with a suntan, she's rude. But right now, she's not a judge anymore. She's an Amazon warehouse associate. Operating a forklift, I'm assuming. She sounds like a redneck forklift driver, is what she sounds like. She's not raising any money, and she does not appear to have a campaign website. I can't even find her on Twitter and Facebook. I know that it was there. I saw, but she pulled it all down. She probably got attacked by way too many people who didn't think that was amusing. She was saying that she was hoping that word of mouth would be all she needed to get elected. It looks like she couldn't take the heat. Yeah, crazy people. Anyway, so what else is going on in the world? I always talk about Syria. Here's your Syria update. It looks like the Syrians are actually winning the war in the beautiful, beautiful country of Syria. Over there, way too close to Israel, where they want to take them over. They were hoping they would win that thing. So yeah, we did that. We and our allies imposed this war on them, sending in mercenary armies. We've been trying to take out President Assad and install a puppet ruler. You know that war, as we have in so many other countries around the world. Well, it looks like they're actually winning this thing. The Syria government forces broke the Daesh Takfiri terrorist group's 3-year siege on the city of Diozour, that's one of their larger cities. You know, you look up Syria on a map, it's like that's place is kind of desert, scraggly. It's not a very big country. I think Texas is bigger than Syria. Anyway, additionally, forces have liberated 59 towns and villages from the control of these terrorists. The operation to liquidate the last major base of the terrorists in Syria is being completed. And Russia has been helping them. They conducted 2,687 airstrikes in support of the liberation over the past 2 weeks. So yeah, they're knocking them down before they can get set back up. Today, for example, we bombed with the Americans. You know, I mean, we're still killing people, or we're still killing civilians. It's not like we're pulling it out anytime soon. I hope we do, but we're doing horrible things. We bombed Raqqa, killing 12 civilians, and 2 days ago they killed 14 Syrians in the same city, different part of the city. It appears everybody's paying any attention. We go in and we just bomb the hell out of neighborhoods, and it's like we're clearing the way for these militants to come in the rubble and set up. You know, kind of like the Israelis do the Palestinians. They destroy all the homes there so they can come in and put in fresh. I don't know. You tell me. Or if you see people going in there building settlements, I'd say you might want to question the motivations. Also today, the UN Commission of Inquiry, or would you call that inquiry? I don't know, inquiry just sounds too query, doesn't it? So, today the UN Commission of Inquiry on Syria voiced worries over US-led airstrikes on Syria. Well, really? They finally said something about it? They said in their report, the Commission is gravely concerned about the impact of international coalition airstrikes on civilians. Yes, everybody's concerned about that. Thank you for saying something, you UN schmucks. The report adds that the U.S.-led coalition also failed to take correct precautions to protect civilians during an airstrike in Aleppo earlier this year. An airstrike. That's what we call them here in Texas. We call them airstrikes. At least 42 people lost their lives in the U.S. airstrike that targeted a mosque full of people. So yeah, they're late, but at least they're speaking up. Last week I talked about a caravan of Takfiris, al-Nusra, or whatever they were calling themselves on that day. Maybe you recall that they had been set up in a town on the Lebanon border. So they had an agreement because, they were getting their asses handed to them. They gave them permission to cross the southern portion of Syria there and go over to the Iraqi border to a town called Al-Bukamal. And they set off with a bunch of buses and their little tanks and jeeps and trucks and whatever, and all their armaments. And they were in agreement with the Syrian government. They said, okay, go on ahead, get out of there. We don't want you there anyway. And you can go over there with your other asswipes. We'll just keep you guys all clustered over here against the Iraq border. But I was also pointed out, the Iraqis and the Syrians are also in agreement to not allow any kind of like go back and forth between their countries. Same thing with Lebanon. They don't want that anymore. The Israelis are helping them too much over there. So they say, yeah, get the hell out of here. But the problem is the Americans didn't get the memo. That's I can figure. Because, they all of a sudden the Americans started bombing the bridges a bridge in front of them and a bridge behind them, and kind of trapped them along this highway. And they're stranding them there. That's the last I heard about it. I was reading about it. There, people were coming out in trucks, little pickup trucks, and bringing them water and food. But it's like, here they are, these families, about 300 people, and their wives and kids. These mercenaries. If you're thinking about getting a gig as a mercenary for the United States or the Allies, the British and Israelis, to take out a country like Syria, Libya, whatever, you might want to think twice, because you're very expendable. It's looking more and more like that. They give you a lot of money, drugs, nice new weapons, and then all of a sudden you're stuck out here getting bombed. Bunch of patsies, I'm telling you. Question is, Are we ever going to leave that country in peace? I mean, it's like they're treating them as badly as they're treating our forces. So what else is going on? This is kind of odd to me. I've talked about Myanmar before. It's a little country over there, wedged, I guess it's between, what is it, India, China, that sort of thing, that area. And there are like 90,000 Rohingya Muslims that are refugees now. They've arrived in Bangladesh. And so they're having a bloody crackdown on them. They don't like these guys. I don't know why. It's like our country is supporting. If we want to be the policeman of the world, why aren't we stopping that? There's all kinds of horrible things going on. But what really boggles my mind is that these guys have been subject to communal violence by extremist Buddhists. When did Buddhists become extremists? I mean, come on now. That's a little too weird. These guys are supposed to be sitting there going, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and now they're extremists and they're attacking these Muslim groups. I don't know. I don't get Tibet either. I mean, that kind of makes sense. You got the horribleness of the different leaderships within China. They're known for their mass murdering their own people. But Buddhists attacking people? Why? I don't get it. I won't dwell on it. It's just that there's more inhumanity to man going on this planet, and what do? We invent problems where they don't exist. Speaking of problems that exist, wildfires over there in California. They're forcing thousands to flee their homes. I don't know if that stopped or not, but it was going pretty heavy the last few days. They got the sweltering, smoke-shrouded holiday weekend of record heat over there. Back last weekend was the Labor Day weekend. On Sunday, they had these fires causing evacuations all the way up in Montana, Glacier National Park, and many other parts of the West. There's a wildfire on the northern edge of Los Angeles rapidly grew on Saturday into what the mayor called the largest blaze in the city's history, prompting the evacuation of hundreds of people and the closure of a major highway. Yes, it did. It's a 5,000-acre La Tuna fire, named after the canyon area where it erupted on Friday, has led authorities to evacuate more than 700 homes in a North Los Angeles neighborhood and in nearby Burbank and Glendale, officials said. Authorities warned of erratic winds that could force them to widen the evacuation zone after the fire destroyed 3 houses in Los Angeles Saturday. And what occurred to me is this did somebody decide to do some kind of a publicity stunt for this movie I keep seeing previews for? Am I the only one thinking that? I know that's rude, but have you seen the preview? Called Only the Brave. It's starring the 3 big J's. What is it? Josh Brolin, Jeff Bridges, and Jennifer Connelly. Billed as the true story of the Granite Mountain Hotshots, one unit of local firefighters that through hope, determination, and sacrifice, and the drive to protect families, communities, and our country, become one of the most elite firefighting teams in the country. As most of us run from danger, they run toward it. They watch over our lives, our homes, and everything we hold dear, and they forge a unique brotherhood that comes into focus with one faithful fire. I don't know, that would be pretty rude. I remember before 9/11 they were going to let out some film that had something about the towers, and they held that one back. I don't know. This is affecting the Hollywood area, but now they'll let it go. I mean, we're very forgiving. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it all. I mean, when they let that Tyrannosaurus Rex run loose in Beverly Hills to promote Jurassic Park, we didn't care. You know, fuck those elite bastards. Come on, Hollywood. But this time you've gone too far if you set a fire just to promote a movie. I mean, come on. Who the hell are they over there? They're crazy, I tell you. Hollywood crazy. North Korea can't seem to get out of the news, can it? North Korea. What's wrong with them? They said they conducted a successful hydrogen bomb test. And there were like these 2 tremors that were detected in the country. And they said, oh yeah, we had a hydrogen bomb test. It was a perfect success. That's what they said on their TV. Adding the device was capable of being loaded onto long-range missiles. Japanese Foreign Minister Tarakono said, after examining the data, we concluded that it was a nuclear test. You know, North Korea is kind of getting the short end of the stick here. Everybody in our government vilifies them. They vilified Iran. They vilified Iraq before we attacked them. We vilified Afghanistan. We talk smack about all these countries. Now, North Korea, like it or not, other than the little civil war they had back in the 50s with the south half of the country, other than that little kerfuffle, they haven't really attacked anybody. But we want to vilify them. We say that they're horrible people, are doing all these horrible things. Yeah, maybe the government kind of sucks. You know, these Kims, the progression of one dictator after another. But that doesn't stop us from loving other people, like, for example, the Saudis, the House of Saud. Those are our buddies. But no, we've got to constantly terrorize North Korea. And it's like I said that last week. They have like upwards of $10 trillion worth of all kind of minerals and jewelry and oil and all kind of things over there. So it's pretty rough. You see this vilification going on all the time. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. And please, down here on your screen, you'll see a little button. It's a share button and a subscribe button and a like button. Push those buttons for me. The show has come to a close. And thank you for tuning in. This is Conspiracy Comedy News, and this is American Freedom Radio.